Hey Bookworms, welcome back to my channel and to another October review. This year I will be reviewing a Victorian horror novel once a week throughout the month, so stay tuned. I already reviewed 2 books and I will be linking them in the description box, so check them out. And also, if this is something that might interest you, make sure to subscribe to my channel and click the bell notification so you won't miss any other reviews that I'm doing on this series. Today I'm continuing with yet another famous novel. Some might call it a famous monster, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This novel starts with painter Basil Hallward, who paints a picture of his muse, the young and utterly beautiful Dorian Gray. After seeing the lifelike picture and hearing from a bastard of a friend that only youth and beauty matters and they eventually fade away, naive Dorian wishes that he would remain young and beautiful forever and the picture would age instead of him. Shortly after, he realizes his wish came true, and as he descends into more depravity and corruption, the picture seems to absorb it all. And Dorian? He seemed to live happily and careless as he ruins people's lives and leaves a trail of both broken hearts and dead bodies in his wake. I read this book for the first time many years ago and I remember really liking it. I reread it recently for the purpose of this video and I did realize that unlike Dorian Gray himself, I did change throughout the years and I noticed that I had a little less patience with it. That is not to say I did not like it. I still really enjoyed it, so let's stay here for a moment and start with the positives. From a story standpoint, this was really interesting. As all books you'll see me talk about this month, this has a philosophical question in its base about human nature. Last week I talked about Dr. Jekyll and Mr Hyde, a novel that also similarly talks about the duality inside us and our ability to be both normal, moral human beings and have also a sinister side to our personalities. Also, both books talk about and criticize contemporary society's demand that we only present our good side in society, even if it's obvious that on the inside we're much less than squeaky clean. I also feel that there is a lot more that can be said about this book's themes. I tried to ask myself while reading, what is this book really about? Is it just critique of society, as I just mentioned? Is it about vanity, telling a story of a man who kinds of sells his soul for eternal youth? Is it about how we love the fake more than the real? I think it's all of the above. A mark of a good novel like this is that it makes you think, and not every person reaches the same conclusion. So make sure to write down below what you took away from The Picture of Dorian Gray. In addition, let's not forget that this was written by none other than Oscar Wilde, so this book does have some really cool witty lines, because one thing you can say about this guy is that he knew how to talk. Also, since it's Oscar Wilde, the book is really homoerotic. I wonder if some of the critique in the book of hiding our true selves is related to that. I'm also pretty sure that Basil was in love with Dorian, so if you've heard of an interpretation like that and thought, oh, why do they have to make everything so woke these days? Well, it was definitely in the original book, and I'm pretty sure that if Wilde could, the book could have been a lot more gay. How scandalous! However, there was this one aspect of the book that I disliked and I want to warn you about it because I feel that if you know what to expect, both in positives or negatives, you will be able to enjoy it more. I did mention that Oscar Wilde knew how to talk, and talk he did. This novel is, how shall I say it, very chatty, blabbery even. As much as I love Oscar Wilde's wittiness and one-liners or 10-liners sometimes, there were enough times in Dorian Gray that I just lost patience and wanted the story to move on. It's important to remember that it is part of the point. It's about fancy people, and as I mentioned, there's this idea of loving the facade more than reality. And this constant dinner party chatter suits this ideal. I hope no one will be offended by what I'm about to say, but these are much more Jane Austen's crowd of rich people with nothing better to do than to gossip while eating, and less Charles Dickens people who actually, have to work to survive. This is again one of those cases where you need to know what you're getting into. Dorian Gray as a character became a horror icon, even vampiric in a way, but in the original novel he didn't roam the street like some sort of Jack the Ripper. It's a morality tale, a dark gothic novel that's also very cynical and almost satiric in a way. Also, if you're the type to get offended easily, be aware, politically correctness wasn't really a thing back then. Now, the comments about the evil Jew were one thing, but this book has so much misogyny, even in Victorian standards. But don't get any ideas. Despite the utmost hatred of women appearing in this book, I do want to point out that Oscar Wilde himself was very much of a feminist who didn't only like and appreciate women, but also used his celebrity to fight for better rights for them. So let's separate author from art, please. Because in the world of Oscar Wilde himself, from this novel's opening, all art is quite useless. He said it. So to conclude, this was a very interesting book with a very interesting concept. You can simply look at it as a plain horror novel and you'll be satisfied. Or you can try and analyze it more and look at the different themes it discusses and give your own interpretation. The book did get a few different adaptations over the years, and it's interesting to see how each one chose to focus on different aspects of it. There were times where the plot took a backseat to a character's witty rant, in the absence of a better word, and I honestly lost interest at times, but when the book was moving, it was really good. By the way, my personal way to deal with those moments where I lose interest is to actually listen to the novel as an audiobook, which helps me remain concentrated throughout the plot. Try it if you're anything like me, because this book is definitely worth it. And that was my review on The Picture of Dorian Gray. Guys, thank you very much for watching my review. I really hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. Also, help my channel not to be lost in the YouTube abyss by commenting. Write down what you think the idea behind The Picture of Dorian Gray is. I'm interested to know, even if you've never really read the book itself and just heard about it. Again, guys, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time with yet another story of a man who does bad things without consequences, but this time due to a scientific experiment gone wrong. Until next time, guys, bye-bye.